so big, but it was you couldn't call Frampton what the Beatles and Chuck Berry had done in the previous 2 decades. But they made a thing out of it where classic rock ended up being bigger than the rock at that particular time. And it's the same thing with hip hop because these people are craft people. It's not a hustle with them. A hustle is the language of a scavenger. But if the music business today resembles a desert, then these artists resemble cactuses. And cactuses are able to dig deep and still survive within what looks like a desert. My job is to come along and shine the light that comes our way across to our peers and say, you know what, they're doing their thing. And to franchise a quote-unquote marketed brand that has artists going around the country doing their thing, but also tying it into technology such as social networks. We have Brenda Laura, who is actually the social network guru, who's worked with Smashing Pumpkins and exploded their social networking as well as with Topspin. And lending the futures of technology into what these artists are already doing and then taking that to the next level. And just like I was also inspired by golf. I mean, Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus. You know, one day I was bugging out and said, they still play golf. Yeah, they say, but they play in the senior circuit. They don't play around with Tiger Woods and all of it. I was like, well, how can they? And they, by the way, Arnold Palmer at the 9. I'm like, dude, I mean, so hip hop has the same resonance, and the thing about it, it just has to be structured and organized, and these artists are doing their thing. What I want to also do is that we've also sparked off the beginning of Spit Digital, which happens to be one of the few, we call it the first real true urban aggregator. I was involved at the turn of the century fighting the record companies on their dominance of file sharing and actually keeping masters. So I jumped into the internet field very early, and it has actually put us on 70 other tours out of our 85 over the 25 years, and has delivered records for us ever since 1999 when we first broke through with MP3 technology. But in closing, my thing is like, for example, when we started Spit Digital this year, the Orchard became an aggregator in 2004. I helped them jump off. Then many of y'all might have heard of TuneCore. Jeff Price and TuneCore, I helped them jump off. 2011, we built our own called Spit Digital. And that was after we was rejected by Apple, which is good because you got to get your glitches of your system out. So we got accepted in 2012. And in our 25th year, we released 2 albums in the fall. And they were like, 2 albums? I said, yeah, because I'm showing off our system to show that it works. Also, I was blessed on this particular tour to be lent by each one of these artists and their record labels into the digital realm to lend themselves in a joint sharing project on the soundtrack of the Tour Fest Classic Review. So this tour also has a soundtrack that we will show all kinds of future methods in technology. Everybody has their Twitter, their Facebook page. It happens to be that we're at a time where each of them, even on this 5 or 6 days, has seen their social network just swirl and grow and just metastasize into this thing that happens to be like, yo, they, you know, damn, I dropped this music, and all of a sudden, these people are coming. You know, Son of Berserker, who I've known for like 30 years, man. I remember going to his parties and seeing him spend 45s. And to see him go from 45s to Facebook. So, you know, I'm a big fan of all music. So if I go to a spot in Chicago and Buddy Guy, he's like the young one out of his whole group, and he's like 77. The BB King is 88 and still tearing the house down. These artists tear the fucking house down. So in sight and sound and story and technology and music and also other things they're affiliated with. I mean, the beginning of the tour, Monie Love, she blessed the whole tour with her radio show. She's been doing it for 6 years at Sirius XM Radio in DC, and that's going around talking about the tour as well. And then Monie Love is actually going and moving into other realms, such as learning about boom. This is going to take a tour, and there's so many do's and there's a lot of don'ts. So we've got 2 buses going across the United States. The first tour that has gone from east to west and middle, coast to coast, playing cities and hip hop in a very long time. No, it's not Rock the Bells, the Behemoth Festival. No, but this is something like, this is a tour. And myself, like Ozzy Osbourne, have to put my signature on it. So yes, I am hosting it. It's imperative that I be there from the beginning of the show with Awesome Dre, It was from Detroit down to PE, down to our last, and although I've been driving the first 5 cities because I had to knock out 53 interviews, and I cannot do interviews on the bus, so I do it within the silence of my own drive. So I've clocked about 1,000 miles driving, but that's done. I'm getting on the bus now, so now I can do email interviews. Well, I knocked out all 53. But in the beginnings of technology, myself, you know, we were also welcomed by this brother who's actually took the bold chance in 2001. Said, "Yeah, Chuck, I'll be down with the internet," and he's built just like an environment with his music where he's just nonstop. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to tie all this together. I said, man, don't wait for the structures to actually say, hey, you can do this, and we want to do this for you. Grandmaster Flash, for example, person like Chuck, I want to be able to be down with you and do my whatever. I said, Flash, do a label. Flash, you're on iTunes, right? You know how you got there? He said, I have no idea. And so the same thing is starting to happen, and again, to a lot of people. So I said, no, you guys should be on top of it instead of it on top of you. And so I said, you know what? That's the virtual, in that world of technology, we're proving that there's download cards, everybody's music, the soundtrack, hopefully be the introduction to everybody doing it the same way. No, we won't control the same way. We're showing everybody, do your do your thing, we will guide you. I want to be like Johnny Torrio in the Boardwalk Empire when he saw Capone, and Capone was like, okay, what do you think I should do? And he's like, oh, what you do? You know? Although I'm gonna miss Boardwalk tonight. But and so in real closing, everybody could speak for themselves, because that is the mission of classic. This ain't old school. Old school means that somebody could throw, you know, I saw old school concerts. As a matter of fact, we was a part of an old school concert this week by just paying a visit to someone we love, like Lady B in Philadelphia. But that's a different environment, it's a different setup, it's a different thing. This is a tour, it's two buses, it's 33 of us from different parts of the country, playing together, working together, building each other, and then going to the next realm of, and, you know, and they last for 2 weeks, 2 weeks max. Because it's my experience in touring that after 14 days, the wheels start popping off of people. And I've been on 85 tours, trust me, I know. So we condense the 14 days and make each one of our participants be an artist, be a person working it, be a person technology, bus driver, say, you know what, damn, did that shit happen? That shit was like camp. One of the best times of my life was 2 weeks of camp. And I was 2 weeks of camp in 1971, and that was just 2 weeks. And it went, and it seemed long while I was there, and there was trials and tribulations or whatever, but after it was said and done, I look back to 1971, and that is like 41 years ago to those 2 weeks. So we want to say that touring builds, but it's also a wonderful experience, and it should never be no pressure. And yes, all this is in opposition to what people think hip hop is, touring is, drama and beef. Okay, you always have this and that going on, but not in this case. So I am going to shut up. I think I have to print some things out for tonight. I am hosting. I will be bringing on Awesome Dre. We have DJ Johnny Juice, who is the tour DJ, who has actually done the music backing for many of these groups who introduced themselves after I introduced them. Son of Berserk, and I know Sean Carter introduced them. Son of Berserk.
How you doing? Well, so far, the experience has been beautiful. You know, I'm out here with legends and superstars, and I mean, the traveling on the bus is a beautiful thing. You know, we all get along, and everybody's ripping it. Everybody's ripping it. You know, you got Dinco D's out there ripping it. So, Wild Intelligent and Monie Love, everybody's out there doing their thing. It's a beautiful thing. And next.
Yeah, I'm Dinco D from Leaders of the New School, Charlie Brown, Busta Rhymes, out here holding it down for my crew, you know what I'm saying, for myself, and for the whole team, for the unit, you know what I'm saying, keeping it strong and giving good shows, and we're gonna keep it going.
school. He's the mayor of Philadelphia. So we had Ed O.G. in the house. He's the mayor of Boston. So a couple of nights ago, we were in the mayor's house in Philadelphia. That's Schoolie D, not Mayor Nutter.
I'm here to represent the 5-2. Everybody know what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell you my thoughts. See, I was born here by the angels to do a job. I know my job on earth. My job on earth to make people think, dance, and smile. I know my job is spiritual. It's heavy and it's deep, and it's a very, very important job. We all have important jobs. I read these books about angels all the time, and my angels trust me. I call them in the morning and say, you gotta work overtime on this. And they do. And they show that music is important. Life would not exist without music. So I'm gonna keep it clean this one time. And say one thing I noticed, what they said it would never happen, is they said they would never have little white kids in the front, 35-year-olds in the middle, and old black dudes in the back on one concert. Every last concert I've been on has been the same thing. Little white guys in the front, little 18-year-olds, little people just came out of college, 35, in the middle, and old black dudes in the back as the bartender. That's the most beautiful thing in the world to ever happen to me. Beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. And that's what I got to say.
Wise, intelligent, four righteous teachers. Hip Hop Guys Tour, you know, for me, it's an opportunity to give some of the younger hip hop enthusiasts an opportunity to see what real hip hop looks like. You know, when I say real hip hop, I mean hip hop that's unapologetically and deliberately what it is. You know, where it's not trying to conform to what you know, the mainstream may have put out or disseminated as what we should be trying to aspire to. You know, when I was coming up as a youth, listening to Public Enemy, Boogie Down Productions, you know, Schoolie D, and you know, a lot of the brothers that raised us up as MCs, you know, there was a plethora of MCs, like a plethora of MCs across the landscape of hip hop at that time. So we had a choice, we had an alternative to be, you know, whatever kind of MC we wanted to be. So it was an MC that we can choose to emulate that fit more of our attitude and lifestyle. You know, all the MCs weren't getting rich and dying trying. So we didn't have to adopt that particular model. All of us didn't have to adopt that model. You know, some of us subscribe to a Schoolie D model, while some of us can still subscribe to a Public Enemy or a Boogie Down Productions model. The youth today don't have that option. They have one thing being constantly driven to them all the time: consumer-oriented materialism and self-destruction, basically. You know, so the Hip Hop Guys Tour is like an opportunity for me to pay it forward. You know, do for some of these other youth what those brothers did for me. You know, so it's a good look. I'm loving it though. All the joke cracking on the talk. It's hilarious.
What's the correct?
That's it. I'm lost.
Yes, Monie.
Okay. Two things to say really. This, as Y said, is an opportunity to reintroduce to those that don't know and remind those that are already familiar with the plethora, I love that word, plethora of MCs within hip hop. There's this, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this. Okay? And it started out like that, and it's always been that. It's just that due to all types of capitalization and other things, it has now been emphasized through the major outlets that no, there's no plethora of anything. There's this. That's what it is. There's no such thing as a smorgasbord in hip hop. It's just this. So, you know, if beans make you fart, oh well, that's the only thing that's going to make you. You know what I'm saying? Not our problem. So that's that. I'm doing this because of the fact that, like what Y said, it's reintroducing and reminding everybody that there's this. and it's always been this way. It's up to you to choose, okay? And the second reason, I'm actually in training. This is my training process because this is the first of many Hip Hop God Tour Fest reviews. And you will see an array of different, a plethora, I'm gonna use that all time, of different artists under the banner of future Hip Hop God Tour. So this is my training, really, because I'm really excited about the prospects of putting together an all-female lineup. So that's my little selfish reasoning on the side. So Chuck's giving me, like, I'm shadowing him and I'm getting all the, the insight on how this is done from the inside, from the infrastructure, because as well as many other lineups that are actually being planned right now, which I'm not at liberty to discuss, I can say that I'm looking forward to the all-female lineup. So all the girl pals in the room, that's to you. Yep.
Greetings, my name is Austin Dre from the Hardcore Committee, Detroit City, and I'd like to say thank you to everybody that came out here, to be a part of this. And it's a privilege, to come out and, like she said, to reintroduce ourselves to a newer, younger generation, and also remind, the other people that we still got it, we can still do it. This is something that you don't. Why is it hip hop is always the genre that's asked, you still rapping? Am I still rapping? I'm still breathing. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not still rapping and you were once rapping, it never was in your heart. So all of us are like in this from the heart. We started out doing this for free, not for the money. Because when we started out, it was no money. They weren't even thinking about any longevity in this game. So for us to still be here, still looking good, still sounding good and everything, it's a blessing. And like I say, the camaraderie and, just the no egos. I mean, I'm sure myself, I went through the ego phase, but that was like 20 years ago. So I got that out of my system. So if you can't grow up and be mature now and go out and handle business, then, you don't belong in this industry, because there's so much bullshit going on. You got to have your head on right. So, like I say, for us to be out and be able to do this, night after night and go from coast to coast and show these people that nothing has changed. And like I say, even though we put out records 20 years ago, we're still putting out records today. And we're going to continue to put out records. So, that's what it's all about for me, representing Detroit. We get a bad rap on a lot of things. People don't really understand it. It's a beautiful city. It's one of the cities that gave America a lot of its industry, a lot of its technology, its knowledge, Detroit, if you do your history on it, which one of my songs is going to really break that down. But, I'm proud to be representing the D, when it's not a lot of negative light on the D, because the D is the place to be.
Yeah.
All right, I know as we said, we're on a real time restraint here, but I want to open the door or the room for any questions that anyone would like to ask any of us here or any of the artists here. So if you have questions, like I said, we're on a time restraints, but we'll open the door. Go ahead.
Well, being at this tour, it is a reflective of the fact hip hop is 40 years old. Is it safe to say that we are officially over the ageism hump in hip hop? Meaning that for a long time, artists were really cast out if they were heading towards their late 20s, early 30s. Now we have successful artists that have entered, that are still relevant today in their mid 30s, or an artist that is getting a lot of buzz, a lot of media coverage, like 2 Chainz, who's 36. And of course, you all are still doing what you do. Is it fair to say that we are officially past the ageism stigma that a lot of artists suffered during the 90s?
Well, that depends. For me, can we say we passed that hump? I'm not sure, because if the artist is 36 or 40 years old and he's rhyming like he's 16 years old, and things that a 16-year-old would appeal to, I don't know if that's really allowing the age demographic into the forum. I don't know if we're really over the hump, because he has to dumb himself down to a 16-year-old. And it's weird to me to see grown men wearing jeggings. It's just weird to see them, behaving like adolescents at this level. There's so many things that we need to be discussing in the world right now, so much going on, but they're avoiding those conversations because, you know, you can't come to the table with adult conversation anymore. You know, when I came up, I'm 16 years old and I'm listening to Fight the Power. I'm listening to real powerful records, to the East Blackwoods. You know, these were some very powerful records with heavy content, you know, and it was youth driven then. You know, we were 16 years old. I mean, we were right off our corner in the projects. We jump in the car and go see Farrakhan speak after listening to Farrakhan's public interview saying Farrakhan's the problem that I didn't want to listen to. So we said,